there we go. Let me. Oh, what do you mean settings? Let me edit these stupid ass settings. There we go.
Do you want to go fights in order, or do you want to just go by like interest level?
I figure we just run through them in order. That'd be easiest.
I think we should do interest level.
We'll just, we'll just spend more time on the fights that really require it. Is all.
I feel like we should literally just save all the bullshit for last and just say, "Oh yeah, and this fight happened."
Well, it's easier when it comes to how I edit it too, because I'll be able to fix it around. Trust me, I'm a genius. All right,
I don't know if I go that far.
what's going on, everyone? Blake, we witnessed one of the greatest UFC events in the company's history on Saturday night, and I cannot be more pumped to bring you our recap show on that because, man, I had so much fun watching that, and I know you did as well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how you sound so calm right now. That was
I'm
I was
holding
expecting
back.
like some more screaming and yelling in that intro, but yeah, man, I'm
Gotta keep it professional.
super pleased with what happened this weekend. Saturday had me jumping for joy, I think a couple of times actually, and actually cowering in fear almost a few times as well. So,
Man,
yeah,
the empty
what a weekend.
arena. One of the best parts is that you hear every single shot that those fighters
Yeah,
land.
yeah, definitely. And for some reason I felt like it was highlighted even better than it was on that Brasilia card about a
Yes,
month and a half ago. It just
man.
seemed like they
Yeah,
really spotlighted that arena and made sure all the focus was just on the fighters and just the sounds of them fighting.
they did it right, and they did a great job. But let's jump into the first fight of the night, which was on the early prelims. This was Ryan Spann taking the dub over Sam Alvey in a well-controlled fight by Ryan. I believe it was a decision. It was like 28-27, I believe, at least on most judges' scorecards. So I had it. It was a good, even fight with Ryan Spann just winning more rounds than Sam Alvey did.
Yeah, but Sam came through at the end there. That was a really interesting fight towards the end.
He got close to the
I'm in the
finish.
yeah, I'm in the party that believes that that fight goes another 25 seconds or so that Sam can get that job done. And let's not forget to talk about how Sam smiled out of a submission attempt against the cage. I've never seen that
That was
before in a
great.
fight
Well, I
where
think
someone
that the
literally
best,
grinned their way out.
maybe not, that was a highlight, but I think one of the best highlights of the card was Sam Alvey was the first one to walk out on the night, and you saw him give his waves and smiles and everything points to the crowd when he was walking out, when he got into the octagon. I loved every part about it. I mean, it's a weird situation, so it was hilarious just to see him own it like that.
Yeah, he definitely made the most out of the situation, and you like to see that. I
Oh
mean, they're
yeah,
performers, they're entertainers. He gave us something else to look at besides just the fight.
exactly. Great fight though, but like you said,
Did you
if it,
find it entertaining? Did you
oh
like
yeah,
it?
no, I thought it was a good fight. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't a bad way to start the night off by any means. I got hooked, and that's one of the
definitely
more
not.
important parts. But the better fight, not to knock Ryan Sperry and Sam Alvey, but to put just a lot more respect onto this guy, Bryce Mitchell. Man, he's one crazy dude. With we remember last year he got the submission of the year award when he got the Twister. Was it in this in the December card? I believe it was something late.
Do you think they get like a bonus for that? Probably get
They
sent to
have
them?
to. They have to.
Some
Um,
monetary bonus?
you would think so.
Definitely a plaque or some type of trophy though.
They get they have to get something. I'm sure Dana gives him a little love for something like that because that's really
Definitely.
hard to do. But Bryce Mitchell, he had the submission of the year with the Twister, and he had was it 4 Twister submission attempts.
I
I'm
was gonna say, how many submission attempts in general did he
oh
have in that
he
fight?
was going from submission to submission to submission.
He flows so well on the ground. It's seamless. The transitions he has are just seamless.
It was
He put Rosa in
beautiful.
so much trouble in so many different positions,
How
and
yeah,
he would
credit to
threaten
Mitchell
with
for
one
game.
submission,
Uh
and
huh.
the minute that Rosa goes to try and defend him, he would just switch to the next. And
Exactly. Credit to Mitchell for
it was
being able to pump
beautiful.
all those out, but credit to Rosa for not tapping somehow, especially in one of those twisters, because those were it wasn't just some weak twisters; they were locked in for a good chunk of the time. And Charles Rosa didn't tap, and I respect him for making it through all 3 rounds of that.
Yeah, definitely. Bryce Mitchell, he is got some country strength,
He's
some
good.
squirrel strength in him. I don't know what he's doing up there in Arkansas, but he's doing it right.
But for lack of a better term, the balls on Bryce Mitchell to continually attempt a twister was.
Speaking of balls, you've heard about, not to sound sus, but you've heard about his balls, right? What happened to him?
Oh, was he the one with the ruptured
He
one?
like got his nuts cut one day. I can't remember how the heck he
Oh,
did it, but
that was
yeah,
in
he had
practice,
like
right?
yeah, it was something. I don't know if it was in practice or I think he was doing something outside of the
Oh,
UFC even maybe.
oh, that's
And
awful.
yeah, it was just
Well,
like a little accident.
he
So
makes up.
that dude's tough as
He
nails.
makes up for the injury by the performance and the grit he shows in the octagon. Bryce Mitchell is he could be very well one of the future champions of that featherweight division. Just where he is currently, he's on a trajectory that is only pointing up. And
Get him some camo shorts. Get him
Reebok,
a top 15. Get him a top 15 opponent
Reebok,
right away.
where are the camo shorts at, guys? Come on now. You think they had this done by now? It's a little disappointing, but it is what it is. Solid couple fights there on the early prelims, but moving on into the prelims then. The prelims we got started off with a solid bout that really lived up to the expectations. You could say that the card as a whole not only lived up to the expectations, but it exceeded the already lofty expectations. But Vicente Luque defeated Nico Price via was doctor's stoppage late in the third round, or about halfway through the third round. Because
Yep, that
Price's
cut
eye was
just got too
jacked.
much.
It was closed. It was actually fully closed. What
Yeah,
was
and
what
I
was
don't
the
think
worst
it's.
eye? Was it Nico Price's or was it Cowboy Cerrone's when he fought Ferguson?
I think Nico's. I thought Nico's looked a little bit worse than Cowboys because Cowboys it just kind of
Was swelled, right?
puffed up,
Yeah.
swelled up really quick.
Nico's was
Whereas
God.
Nico, it looked like he was split like in it looked three different areas almost
But
like
that might
one
not
down below, one in the middle, and then one up top. I was like, man, that guy got jacked
that
up.
might not even been the worst cut of the night, which we'll get to in a sec. But Vincente Luque, he was 13th ranked welterweight going to this bout. Nico Price unranked. Luque looking to climb the rankings now. Maybe moving into the top 10.
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna really give him any traction forward. I don't think I in terms of rankings, but
Mm-hmm.
I do think in terms of matchmaking, it's gonna give him a little bit of extra fire now. Now Sean Shelby and McMaynard and Dana White, they're gonna want to get this guy in the ring again
Yeah.
because he's got a knockout.
And all
Like,
those
what have you
fans
done?
want to
What
see
have
him
you done
back
for
in the
me
octagon
lately?
too.
Exactly.
Yes,
So
sweet
and
damn.
every time he fights, minus the Wonder Boy fight, obviously,
Mhm.
where that's just a masterclass performance on Wonder Boy. Not even really a masterclass performance, but just he's so good at what he does in neutralizing his opponents and what they're trying to accomplish that Luque was just unable to get going, kind of.
And
And
that's
so he
no
couldn't
fault in
deliver
his.
an exciting
Stephen
fight.
Thompson is just so high, highly skilled and gifted. That guy's amazing.
Yeah,
But
and to get the fights that Vicente Luque provides, the partner has to be willing.
mhm.
Nico Price,
he was
that dude, he was willing as hell. I don't know. You see him at the end of the fight where he was just like screaming into the camera with his eyes still like just
right.
shut completely. I'm
That
like,
guy,
man, that guy's
both
freaking
these men,
Viking.
but Nico Price, these are some badass people.
Yeah, dude.
They went out. All they did was
Respect.
slug each other and kick each other in the face for
Yeah. It was like they
two
were
and a
in a
half
phone
rounds.
booth. It was like they were fighting inside of a phone
They
booth.
didn't let up either. They were just constant. It was amazing, and that's one hell of a fight to have on the prelims.
Yeah.
Move on to the next fight. This was the women's strawweight bout with Carla Esparza defeating Michelle Watterson via decision. I judges scoring came into a little weird in this one. I was okay with it. The couple judges giving 29-28, 20-27 to 29-28 to Carla Esparza. But there was one judge that gave it 30-27 to Carla, and I thought that was whack. Michelle definitely won one of those rounds.
Yeah, so that was the main thing that stood out to me when they called the scores out was there was a 30-27 for Michelle, then a 29-28 for Esparza, and then a 30-27 for Esparza.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like two judges were on the complete complete opposite sides
You can't
of the
have that.
scorecards, you know? And that just doesn't really make too much sense to me if they're all watching the same fight. Because if anything, I didn't really see a 30-27 fight either way
No,
at all, really.
no.
Uh, so whatever, just
Uh,
hire Blake for the judging. That's
Right.
all you got to
Well, this
do.
kind of
We'll
goes
take
into
care of
one of our
that.
older shows, like a number of weeks ago, talking about how judging in UFC, in maybe MMA in general, might have to have some fixings, might need to be updated, might to just be improved upon.
Yeah,
But
I don't really get how you could have that, you know, that much of a difference between two judges on the
exactly,
same exact card, on
not
the
to
same
let
exact fight.
at least not to let judging take away from the fight though. It was a good fight. It was an entertaining fight. Carlos Barza, like we a lot of people were thinking, definitely controlled Michelle. Kept her on the ground, kept her close in
Mhm.
the clinch. Good wrestling, good grappling, and that just kind of um, neutered any sort of attack that Michelle Warrison had in at least two of the rounds.
Yeah, Michelle wasn't really able to get off a lot of her, flashy kicks or really string together too many combinations. Esparza did a good job of controlling where she wanted to fight and just capitalizing whenever she could land a takedown.
Hey, that's just good, clean fighting, not trying to get jacked up. Get in, get out, get the win. There's nothing wrong with that fight style.
Two former Invicta champions too, so that was a lot going into that bout.
Oh yeah.
It was really cool to see those how far they've come in their career. Esparza even holding the UFC strawweight, right? Yeah, strawweight gold for a little bit, and then Jacek took it from her.
A little
So
more than
two
took.
very accomplished women in MMA.
Yes. The next fight was our was a heavyweight bout. We had Aleksei Olenek, the veteran with probably like something close to 80 fights now. With this one,
A trillion.
defeating uh, one of the best, maybe, yeah, he's definitely one of the best grapplers that this heavyweight division in the UFC has seen in Fabricio Verdum. This was a battle of two old men that can still perform at a pretty good level. It was a slower fight, but what I was really surprised, well, sorry, it started off slow, but then what we had in Aleksei is a guy that is really good with submissions, good ground game. Verdum, great ground game, but these guys hardly went to the ground. They were slugging it out, and I don't really recall many people expecting that to happen.
I was very see. I kind of thought the fight started really fast, except for not for Verdum, but for Olenek.
Mm-hmm.
He came out there and he was just throwing bombs. I was like, damn, how is Verdum like? It looked like he was wobbled a couple times too in
Mm-hmm.
a few of those in the main part of that exchange. And I was assuming that Olenek would gas out potentially, maybe not make it too far, maybe get submitted in round two or three.
He
And
still has
Verdum did get
cardio,
close a
man.
couple times, but yeah, it was kind of a weird fight. I thought it was very back and forth. Olenek clearly won the first, and then I thought rounds two and three were really toss-ups, both rounds,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. So I do think Olenek probably deserved the nod on that one, and it was surprising to me because I believe they're the same age, 42, but Olenek just looked a lot more spry, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. He just looked like he was a little bit more willing to throw down than Verdum was.
I you could see that as well. I was going back. I was just really happy that these two guys decided not to take it slow and just throw bombs at each other and try to actually go for the knockout. Because
Right.
that totally went against everything I was expecting, and I was thoroughly entertained by this fight because these two gentlemen still have years left, possibly in their career, and they can still go. And it was a fun fight to watch for sure. The
Yeah, it was okay. It was probably the worst on the card, to be honest.
Really,
Uh, it was a tie between them and Alvey fight.
that's fine.
Alvey and Span fight.
That's fair. I was entertained by this. Well, also saying the worst fight of the card isn't really that
Not
much of a
bad.
knock anyway.
Not bad for UFC 249.
No, the last fight of the prelims was Anthony Pettis, somewhat controversially, and by somewhat I mean very. If you're going off of the Twitter experts, we defeating Don Cerrone by a split decision of 29-28. What'd you think of this one? Was it fair? Was it Was it a good score? Do you agree with the judges?
Uh, it's again, this one was a really, really tough fight for me to score too.
Hmm.
Uh, I definitely thought Pettis won the first round, and then 2 and 3 looked a little bit more in Cowboys' favor, to be completely honest with
Hmm.
you.
I
But
agree.
Pettis still landed some really nice shots in those rounds. Like he landed a flush leg kick right on Cowboy's chin. I thought it was going to put him out, but Cowboy just ate it, kept coming forward, and he actually returned one. They both landed some really, really good shots in this fight. I really didn't like in round 3 how Pettis got the eye poke, and you could tell that Donald was
Yeah,
compromised in that
and they
situation, and
didn't
the
stop
ref
it.
totally missed it.
Yeah,
And
you even had
usually
Cerrone pointing it out too. But I
right.
mean,
And usually when you have an opponent wince and say something, most fighters, I feel like in the name of sportsmanship, will back off for a second, let the ref, they want the ref to catch that. They don't want there to be any excuse when they win.
yeah,
They want to beat these guys at their best. But
especially a guy
Pettis,
like Pettis, right? Oh well,
yeah,
I expected
I
Pettis
was
to
I was
stop, but also
surprised.
I can't fault Pettis for not stopping.
No, exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. Is
Right.
he's got the killer mentality. If the ref doesn't stop it, it's not his job to stop the fight. It's the referee's job.
Hmm.
So you can't really get too mad at him for that. But
Exactly.
I just didn't enjoy seeing it as a Cowboy fan. So yeah, it was a tough one to watch. A 4-fight skid now for Cowboy. Don't know what the heck is next for him, but I
I
do
don't
know that
know.
he's gonna fight again. That's for sure.
Oh, he's gonna 100%. Uh, it was a good fight though. It was pretty much what we expected. Just two guys that really just don't hold back and don't really care, and they were just going out trying to finish each other. It was solid from the first bell to the last whistle, or the last horn. And so I was thoroughly entertained. Solid prelim card as a whole. Honestly, this prelim, I was saying before that this prelim could be a main card on maybe a lower level fight night. It was maybe not even lower level, even one of the more medium to upper, depending on your taste. Depending on your taste, I thought it
You
was
would
a,
need to throw in one more in there for me.
well, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, throw one more.
Great, great prelims though. But let's move
Maybe if
on.
you throw the Bryce Mitchell, like if you move the Bryce Mitchell
Bryce
to
Mitchell,
the early prelim to the
that'd be good.
prelims, yeah, then
That'd
that
be
can
good.
maybe be a main card for a fight night. Maybe,
I
maybe.
really like that. But this main card, if none of the fights before mattered, this main card was awesome.
Hmm.
Maybe not as much with the first one because Greg Hardy taking on Jorgen De Castro. Greg Hardy does come away with the win in a decision. It was like 29-28 on most of the judges' scorecards. It was a good fight, but man, Jorgen was destroying Greg Hardy's leg. That did not look good.
Yeah, That's not going to be feeling good at all today. I
Right.
guarantee that. But Greg Hardy finds a way to win again.
Hmm.
You can't really knock the guy right now. He keeps finding ways to win,
When he's not throwing illegal strikes and getting disqualified, he can win.
and this is a decision win now. The win over Ben Sassoli, I think that would have been a decision as well, or that would have been a draw, huh? I can't remember about that one, but he's finding different ways to win now.
Hmm.
Whereas it was usually just a first round knockout, right? I want to say all of his wins prior were first round knockouts.
They were.
So
If it was a win, it was a knockout early.
so this could be some growth for the guy. Obviously, I wanted him to lose. I think everyone in the world almost
Yeah.
wanted him to lose.
Right.
But he had an impressive performance, I'd say, except for just get better at checking those leg kicks, man.
Pretty much. That's really all you can say. He can definitely has some room to improve, but he's still looking like he can make some noise in that heavyweight division. At least maybe in like a year or two. Just
I
once the
still think
heavyweight division gets moving again, too.
yeah, he still has some progress to make.
Yeah. It's there though. He does have the potential.
But Volkov, I mean, that fight against Volkov shows you he can hang in there with the guys that are near the, no, I wouldn't say at the top, but near the top.
Oh yeah.
And he's not going to get just dismantled.
No.
So
No.
he's got the heart, it looks like. He's got the raw power and tenacity and strength. But who knows if he's going to be able to develop the technique that's required to take on the
Mhm.
top challengers and the top contenders, the champion. at
Time will
some point,
tell.
possibly. Who knows?
Time will tell.
Exactly. Time will
This
tell.
next fight, though, the featherweight bout between Jeremy Stevens and Calvin Kattar, this was awesome. It was a banger of a fight, just like everyone and their mother thought that was going to happen. Calvin, man, he caught Jeremy Stevens with one of the cleanest hooks, bro. Sorry, is the elbow. He caught him with the right elbow. He kind of glanced him on the way down. Then when he got the top mount, got that left elbow and put.
You're forgetting to mention though, simultaneously got his nose broken by Jeremy Stevens
I
when
didn't
he
even
hits
know.
that. Yeah.
Really?
So because Stevens threw a hook at the same time, I want to say. I can't remember if it was a hook or a straight, because they were close quarters. So I want to say it was a hook.
I didn't even
And
notice that.
busts him right on the nose if you watch the replay.
Damn.
And that's why he has two little. He looks like a raccoon today. Cater does, and he has like a little crazy looking nose. It's all puffed up. It's broken too. So yeah, he had to take one, and he says in his interview with Ariel Helwani today, he's like, yeah, I'll trade a rook for a queen any day. So
Man, that was a wild fish. I didn't even catch that because I was more looking at how deep of a gash that his left elbow from top mount.
yeah, the follow up elbow was so
Gosh.
beautiful. Like, first of all, that dropping elbow was just nasty. I mean,
Awesome.
he just freaking floored Stevens.
It was perfect.
Butt on the canvas, eyes looking up at the freaking ceiling, and then he just follows him and then just splits his forehead wide open.
Those shots weren't even really necessary at that point either. Jeremy Stevens
Yeah.
got a hole in his head, and when he didn't really need to take it, I mean, it wasn't like a bad stoppage by the ref. It just happened so quick. Calvin Kattar got on top of him like that.
And I gotta be honest with you, I thought that leading up to this fight, it was pretty obvious who was gonna win, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Just judging on how Jeremy Stevens handled the fight week
Yeah.
and the whole preparation. You come in on fight day, or not fight day, but the weigh-in day, and you're like 4.5. I want to say it was 4.5 pounds overweight,
Mm-hmm.
and you're the first one there, like one of the first ones there apparently,
I don't
because
get it.
Cater said he comes in early,
Mm-hmm.
and he comes in around like 9:20 or so, and he said Jeremy Stevens was already there rehydrating, which means he just took his L, didn't even
Mhm.
try it again, and just gave up basically. He just essentially quit before he even got to the fight.
Yeah.
And
I was saying that I was seeing issues in the way Jeremy Stevens, how emotional he was going into this bout. Maybe that had a role. Maybe this is. There's probably there's with a
could
card
have been
like
like
this,
a
there's
false sense
plethora
of
things.
confidence or something,
That
like trying to
too.
pump himself up a little bit,
Mm-hmm. But shout out
But
to,
yeah, it's just like the way he was handling things.
It
It was
was
just
weird.
a little odd this week, right?
it was weird.
Something was off. I don't know.
For sure. Hopefully we find out sometime soon. But congrats to Calvin for getting one hell of a TKO. Also
Yeah,
for getting
and let's not act
30%
like that's
of
a
Jeremy
bad
Stevens'
feat
purse.
either. Yeah, he gets 30% for him missing weight. Jeremy Stevens is still a killer, still broke dude's nose.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like
It's not like he's
Yeah.
washed, bro.
Nah.
Both these fighters are going to be fine. Calvin Kattar definitely going to surpass Jeremy Stevens in the rankings. Jeremy was 7 going into this one, and Kattar was 9 going into this one. So I could see a swap between them.
Yep.
That could make a lot of sense. But man, this
either that or number 6, and then Cater
Mhm.
fights a top 5 to get in there.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
it's not going to tank Stevens, and it's going to boost Calvin a little bit. But this next fight, man, performance of the night. Francis Ngannou still has, his last fights was like 45 seconds, a minute 12, some like 16 seconds, all super short stuff. And then this one, 20 seconds. He goes and hits Rosenstruik with a monster left hook. And Rosenstruik's soul left his body.
Yeah, it was weird. You could tell at the beginning that those leg kicks probably pissed Francis off. Like a
Right.
flick, like a switch flicked up, and Francis was like, "Nah, I'm gonna just go ape shit," and then just beat the hell out of him. I mean, he just swung
brutal.
wildly. Have you seen? I'm sure you've seen the replay in slow motion by now.
Yeah.
But like he was just, I don't know, balls to the walls, just slinging everything he had, just putting everything into each freaking punch that he was throwing. And there was about, like, I want to say 4 where he just like sprinted forward basically
Mm-hmm.
and one hit, and that's all you needed. And it was interesting too because there was about one or two times where Jorginho, I think where he messes up is he's literally going straight backwards. You
Yeah.
need to kind of pivot, maybe get to a different angle so you're not just right on a straight line for Francis. But he did throw two hooks that were one actually did connect, but it just didn't do much.
No.
I think it was because he was throwing it off his back foot,
Mm-hmm.
but he was really close. And Ngannou, if he does that against certain fighters, I think that's night
If he
time.
does that against Stipe again, probably not going to work. But to most fighters, he can afford to do that. But
Yeah,
the thing with Francis, though, I'm sure he has a rock solid chin, but we haven't seen any evidence of that. Honestly,
yeah, right.
recently, we have no idea how. I'm sure, like, I'm not saying that he's weak. I'm saying I'm sure Ngannou could take a punch like almost anyone else out there, but it's not proven. So if he gets tagged, we haven't seen him get. We haven't seen him get tagged. We've hardly even seen a punch landed on him. So I'm really curious to that part, to be honest.
Yeah, like he's almost made it around now in his last four fights.
Mm-hmm.
If you put them all together,
It's ridiculous, dude.
20 seconds, 30 something seconds, like a minute long. Like he hasn't even been 5 minutes in the octagon his last four fights. It's ridiculous.
Doesn't make sense. It does not make any sense. Even with his last fight, going back to his fight with Stipe Miocic, when it went, didn't it go the distance?
Stipe and Francis?
Yeah.
I believe it did.
That even with that one going the distance,
I'll look that up.
Francis still has by far the lowest fight time, out of any current fighter right now. At least like with the last five fights, this one going to take the average
we'd
lower.
have to fact check that, but I would, if I off the top of my head, I would have to agree with you.
I think it did. Francis
and
he's
Ngannou
scary.
was a decision unanimous.
Scary. Did you see what did you see what the picture or video released by Ngannou's kind of, I guess, social media manager with him just staring a hole through Rosenstruik's soul before their walkouts?
No, I didn't see that. I don't really care about all that stuff.
I thought it was just kind of scary. I would not want to see a man like Rosenstruik just staring at me like that. It's not okay. I
think if you're in the UFC, stuff like that better not phase you. So
oh,
I think
but if you're me,
all that's for the cameras.
That's a predator looking into your soul. Moving on into the co-main event of the evening, the first title bout. This was for the bantamweight, and this was another questionable. Well, I want to hear your opinion on this because we had Edson Cejudo defeating the returning Dominic Cruz by TKO late in the second round. Let me hear your opinion on the stoppage.
My initial watch, like watching it live, reacting in person, I didn't have a dog in this fight. Really didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a good stoppage. I thought that knee landed flush.
Agree.
I thought that the follow-up punch was phenomenal. Just the first follow-up punch landed so freaking flush. If you've seen the replay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ones after that, yeah, they probably weren't totally connecting, but he still probably landed another two or three really, really solid punches at least, and the other 5 or 6 probably just weren't that great.
Mm-hmm.
But still, 11 unanswered hits.
Right.
You get knocked to the ground with a knee, 11 unanswered hits.
Such a good knee.
And I do agree with Dom. Like, I do see him kind of trying to do stuff there. Mm-hmm. And the thing that makes me really think twice about it is there was 2 seconds left. That does suck.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you do see the ref kind of just go, okay, fine, go next round. We'll see what's happening. Like, especially what comes to mind for me is that Cowboy Jorge Masvidal fight.
Was this the Keith Peterson reffing this co-main?
Yes, Keith Peterson. And that's why Dominic Cruz, he's been saying in all his interviews, he's like, yeah, man, you smelled like alcohol and cigarettes. Can't even look me in the eye. Can't even shake my hand, look me in the eye.
Keith, he's normally one of the more reliable refs. So
I haven't had a complaint too much against him that I can remember. The only refs that I've ever really remembered bitching about, excuse my French, are Yamasaki and Yamasaki probably.
You mean you don't like the little heart thingy?
No.
Dana's quote about his little hard hands is still one of the most legendary things I've ever heard.
Speaking of Dana, dude, that press conference, that post-fight press conference,
He
that
roasted
was
the hell out of
he
that
roasted
reporter.
that reporter.
It wasn't
Woo!
okay. Oh, that reporter. Oh, I can't imagine how they were feeling with that one.
Man,
Let's
that's
talk what happened after the fight, though. Henry Cejudo in the octagon to Joe Rogan, and then he followed up in his press conference as well. He said that he's retiring. Do you buy it?
I don't I I don't buy it. No. I think it's a ploy to try and get more money,
Mm-hmm.
but I do agree with the kind of the majority opinion out there where if he doesn't get the number that he wants, he probably will walk
Well,
away.
there's no reason. If you look at Henry Cejudo's career, half his life he's been a champion. He won a gold medal when he was like what 18. He was
And I think he was
20,
21.
20. He was young. He was young when he won the gold medal, the premier, the highest award you can get for a wrestler. And now he's been a two-time champion. He's been one of the more dominant champions, at least in recent history. He's not
Not only
only
that, defended both of his belts too, though.
yes, no other champion in history has actually defended both belts.
Hmm.
And that was remarkable. And I've said it. You guys might be tired of me saying this, but I'll say it because I believe it. Henry Cejudo is the most underrated UFC fighter in at least in recent history. Maybe the most of all time. He's definitely out there, one of the most underrated ones. And understand he wants more money, and he deserves it. But the only problem with that is that it's not my opinion, but it's the opinion of the masses that he is just the bantamweight is just not as big of a draw as other divisions, and that's no fault to Henry. That's just kind of the reality we're faced with.
I agree and disagree at the same time, if that makes sense. I think the bantamweight division can be as successful as any of the other divisions, but I do agree in the fact that Henry doesn't get the job fully done. He is so close. The cringe Hudo thing is doing pretty well. He's definitely garnered a lot more attention, but you could see in just the phone interviews with Cruz this week, like Cruz was just killing him. I mean,
It
he was
was
just like, dude,
so
like, what are you
bad. I'm
talking
so
about?
glad you sent me that link because
Yeah,
it was
because
awesome.
it's just like, man, he's he's got to have a good support system around him. It seems like for him to get everything that he needs to accomplish.
Hmm.
In terms of fighting, he's great, greatest of all, one of the greatest of all times for sure. But everything else in terms of entertaining and keeping the masses interested, that's definitely a team effort. I think coming from them.
Hmm.
So it's got to be exhausting, and
Right?
it doesn't come natural to him.
No.
The only thing that comes natural to him is just being cringy.
Hey, he does.
So
He all.
and I got to be
Does a
honest
good
too,
job.
that retirement kind of like damped the evening for me
It
too, like
did. It did.
because it
Right?
was just so weird. It was just such a
It
weird
sucks.
retirement.
See, my whole
That's
thing
the
about
only
this
thing
is
that I
that
kept repeating, bro, is that was so fucking weird.
yes, it was. I was. It was out of nowhere too. I was not expecting anything like this, especially after a big win like that. But I hope that
Dude,
Henry Cejudo isn't retiring. But if he is, I could. I could. I don't believe it, but I could see him being serious about this too. It's that weird gray area where
yeah.
it's
You got to
feasible.
take a man you got to take a man at his word until he
Exactly.
you know,
Also,
until he
I feel
goes
like
back on it.
MMA out of almost any other sport is the sport where people always unretire. It seems too common, but if Henry Cejudo does go out, man, he had one amazing historical career, and a lot of people should be putting a lot more respect on this guy's name.
Definitely. That goes without even saying.
Hmm.
I also think that it's just not a good negotiation tactic in general because Dana White has a very FU attitude, and if you piss him off, it's kind of hard to open that door again, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think Cejudo's really burning bridges with this one.
I don't think he's necessarily burning bridges yet, but if he holds up the division, absolutely. If he
Yeah,
retires right then and there, absolutely. Like
I think.
that's it. It's over. Your title is done. Dana even said like we're gonna have Jan fighting for that title within the next month or two.
About that, what did you think about Cejudo in his post-fight press conference suggesting like a four-man tournament for the belt?
Whatever. I think he was just kind of talking out of his ass.
That's fair. But period on, he definitely has to be he has to be fighting for the belt if Henry Cejudo either is going to defend against him or if it's going to be vacated and
I think
retired.
Cejudo would have had just as much. Like the real. I think the key is we got to look at these pay-per-view numbers. I don't know if those have been detailed yet by ESPN and all those involved. I'd have to look that up. But if he had a spike, there's a chance. And if they had a spike, then I think that was all for possibly. I don't know. I'm not a negotiator. I'm not an agent, so I can't really. I can't really see both sides, I guess. But I would have thought that he would have had just as much power going into that room and just being like, "Yo, you see that shit? You see
got
what
my
I just did
money?
to your boy Dom?
You got
You
my
see what I
money?
just did to your double employee, the guy that fights for you and he commentates for you? You see what I just did to him on on TV in front of crazy amounts of people? Probably one of the biggest
TKO
pay-per-views we'll have that don't have Connor involved.
has to
Yeah,
be.
I whipped his ass. Give me more money now.
He deserves it, man. But
That's what I would have
put it
done,
there.
but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. This is definitely going to be an ongoing situation, and it is going to take a little bit of time to unfold.
I will say I hope he doesn't retire because I
Yes.
thought that he looked really because even I don't even know if we talked about the fight enough. Like he came out with that game plan of just chopping down the legs and just it worked beautifully.
It was
I mean,
really
Dom,
good.
you could see it was getting really irritated because he was moving well at the beginning of the
He
fight. I
looked like
thought
old
just
Dom.
looked good.
It didn't look like he missed a step, honestly. Like, if
Yeah,
you show me a fight when his last fight and then this fight, I wouldn't even know he took time off.
yeah, he looked like he was good. The only thing that I thought could have been better is just the striking department. It just looked like he kind of was holding back a little bit in the first round, but the second round he was landing some good hits.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally credit Cejudo for going out there, implementing his game plan, him and his coach's game plan, and executing
Exactly.
almost perfectly. And he did. They did not last 3 rounds,
No.
so he predicted well.
Right. And then also, if we want to piggyback off of talking about a perfect game plan and execution of the game plan, let's talk about the main event of the evening. This fight had so many implications going into it, and a lot of implications coming out of it. But credit to Tony Ferguson. People think he might have been off. It did look like that a little bit. But most, if not all, the credit should be going to just how damn good Justin Gaethje was last night and is currently. That man is an animal, and Khabib should be worried.
Yeah, he is just an absolute beast. I mean, off the top of my head, there were probably like close to 10, I'd say, fight-ending shots,
Yes.
especially for a guy that hits as hard as Justin Gaethje that I seen Tony absorb.
If it wasn't Tony in this
Unbelievable.
fight, it would have been a knockout in the first round, without a
Yeah,
doubt.
some dude would have got like knocked out 8 times in a fight like that,
It's
man.
like something you see in UFC too.
The craziest thing is how many times did Tony get dropped?
Once, twice.
0.
He didn't get. That's crazy. No, it was just that stoppage. It was
believe it.
just that. It was just.
Just
yeah.
the stoppage, dude.
It was just.
And he just winced, and then that was enough. That was when
It,
like, okay,
it was when he shook his head, and then.
yeah. It's
What
over
do you
now.
think about the stoppage? I thought it was a totally fine stoppage. I had nothing wrong against it.
Tony will hate me for saying that I was okay with it, but
Mhm.
I was okay with it. I thought that he had taken enough. I mean, what else was he gonna do? There was like
He
a
was
minute and
done.
a half left in the fight, maybe.
It was a minute 20 seconds left. He was done.
Yeah, his best shot was in the second round when he landed that flush uppercut. Jesus, that was
That
beautiful.
actually that rocked Justin too. It was.
Yeah, and let's talk about that round. If that round's 10, 15, 20 more seconds,
Who knows?
maybe a different
man?
outcome. Maybe a different
Who
outcome.
knows? Obviously Tony would want to go out the way that Tony would, and he wanted to be finished.
He wanted to go out on a shield.
Which is I can't fault him for thinking that way. That's just Tony Ferguson. That's
But
just
that's why the referees are there, right?
Exactly right.
To protect the fighters from themselves. So that's again, I think that he did a pretty good job.
you cannot fault Herb Dean for that stoppage because if anything, he let it go on a little bit too. He could have stopped it earlier. That's what Dana was saying
even
as well.
said. Yeah.
Exactly.
Dana was like, "You could have stopped it earlier, bro. I don't
Justin
care."
Gaethje with the perfect fight. He was talking about how he wanted to go for the legs, then the body, then the head. He did all those perfectly. He took away Tony's legs, Then he hit him in the face. And he already could hardly stand. We saw him limping in a few occasions in there. Then he hits him with these massive shots in the head, so he's not there in the head, wobbly and stuff like that. You can't fight when you have no legs.
He
and
did good body shots too.
Yes,
He did really good body shots.
Justin was really balanced with the shots. And
Mixed some kicks in there as well that looked really good.
the high kick.
Yeah,
Justin
I was
Gaethje with
like,
the
yeah,
high
I didn't even
kick?
know he had that.
Did you
I
see,
didn't know he had that in his arsenal.
Did you see like a little video? I think UFC posted on their Twitter account after with Justin Gaethje walking back to his locker room after or with his team after all the interviews. He was talking about like he went with the high kick, got the new move. Even he was surprised with himself.
Yeah,
I
dude,
loved
that
it.
was
Dude,
sick.
I love Justin. It's like a person and it's like a personality.
He's a Raider fan. What? Huh?
Yep. I don't have to
He's a
respect.
Raider fan.
I
What?
don't have to respect every part of a fighter, but most of them. Justin Gaethje is one hell of a guy, and this was an absolutely. This fight was really as close as you can get to a perfect fight for Justin Gaethje, and man.
Yeah, except for round 2 on the very last 10 seconds. Yep.
Like 99% of that fight, I can't really see much more Justin doing. I don't see him being able to do much more to end the fight because Ferguson is just not going down. He's not human.
Dude,
he's not
that
human.
was so crazy. I just don't get how he did not even get dropped. I'm sure the people I was watching it with were probably getting so sick and tired of me. They're like, dude, probably just stop screaming already. You know, it's okay. But I couldn't help it. I mean, the shots that he took, and with there being no crowd noise,
It was so loud.
that was so brutal. That was so
sounded
brutal.
so bad. It sounded.
And you heard he fractured his orbital, right?
Yeah.
Tony did.
Yeah, Tony
So
did.
he's out for several months, I would say.
And
Several.
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Tony doesn't want that, but man, he went undefeated for 8 years. He was on 12-0 run. Give him some time off.
Yeah.
He deserves it, and Tony is amazing. The funny thing was when me and Jalen were live streaming our streams, I was about 15 seconds, like 30 seconds ahead of him. So like during that fight, I had to mute myself in the Skype call just so my kind of screams didn't kind of tip anything off because it was nonstop. It was nonstop in that fight, man. Because Gaethje was just laying these massive shots that made me cringe and moan and stuff like that, man. It was gnarly. Without a doubt, he deserves that fight of the night, performance of the night bonus. You saw him before the official decision was announced. He gained some words in with Dana, kind of politicking a little bit, trying to make sure he gets that extra $50K, which he was going to get anyway. But man, I love it. Also, I loved at the end when he just kind of tossed away the interim belt, saying that he'll wear the real thing.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. But you know what else is pretty sweet? And I hate to bring it up.
What?
Twitter. And what certain people tweet.
What Habib was tweeting or what Conor was tweeting today?
What Conor was tweeting.
Conor, bro. He went off today.
Dude, he had the time today, man. I don't know what he was doing.
I think he's been stewing on this since Saturday night. It just came through today. Conor,
I would love to see a triple threat match with Habib, Justin, and Conor.
Sweet. Just make a four-way throw at Dustin Poirier because even Conor was going after Poirier in his Twitter outbreak too.
Poor Dustin, dude.
What Dustin
He's like,
do,
your face
bro?
will end up on the mat again. Like, oh my
bro,
god.
Dustin hasn't done anything ever since his solid fight with Habib months ago in November. September.
No, Dustin's been talking trash on social media as well.
Yeah.
He's been, but not really about Conor too much, I don't think. I'm sure here and there, obviously, because he hates
Dustin,
him.
What Dustin do to Conor?
But he's been taking shots at Justin and Tony. He's literally saying, like, I'm better than both those guys, blah, 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 blah.
Well, what do you think about now we go into Justin defending or title unification bout in thinking Habib said he was ready and he's going to be ready by July. Realistically, probably had to give Justin some time off. Maybe August. August seems like a totally realistic time that we could book this title unification bout between the two. And then another fight we can do with the lightweights while maybe on the same card or while we're waiting is we do Poirier and Ferguson. Put them together.
Ferguson, there's no way in hell he's going to be ready in a couple of months, dude.
Well, oh yeah, sorry, maybe not time being then.
Literally,
Sorry,
Ferguson
down
will
the
not
road.
be fighting until
I
2021.
forgot. I had this.
Guarantee you that.
You think
And
he's going
and,
to take
and
that
it
much
won't be
time off?
early 2021. It'll be probably mid 2021.
Damn.
'Cause
So
this isn't an ACL. This is like an orbital fracture in his face. Like he should probably take it cool on this one and not try to be a hero.
yeah, but you're putting a lot of faith into Tony Ferguson actually treating this seriously, and not just
All I know is he will not be fighting in August. There's no
yeah.
way possible that
Sorry,
the
that's fair.
commission would allow that.
That's
Because
fair.
remember, he has to get approved by the commission. He can want to fight.
Okay,
he
maybe
has to be
maybe
approved.
not have the fight soon, but would that be the next fight?
That
to
is
make?
the fight to make, probably. I mean, I guess
Would
because they're
Dustin
both
wait
losers
that
at
long?
this point. Huh?
Would Dustin wait that long to fight?
That's what I'm saying. Is you never know. I think the Hooker fight is probably going to be where Dustin would go.
That'd be a great
If I-
one. There's a lot of stuff you can do in that
I'd guess.
lightweight division right now.
Yeah, it's stacked, man.
It's a
You
great
really
division.
can't go wrong. Charles Oliveira too is getting himself up there as well.
Man, even you can even throw Paul Felder still, because he's not
If
done.
he didn't retire.
Yeah, I don't believe
hope-
that one either. He's same thing with.
But I think
There
he
you
kind of
go.
he kind of sees like, dude, this division is so stacked.
Is he?
There's
He's probably not gonna be able to get
I
back
have
to the
to
title.
knock someone out in 3 seconds 2 times in a row to even get a look, and I'm a
Right.
commentator too, so
It-
he probably knows it's and he's probably making decent money commentating too. So
I'm sure, like going back down to Cruz, he didn't need to come back to fight. He wanted to come back to fight.
well, he said the whole time that was his golden ticket.
Mhm.
Why would you not take that? A title fight against a dude that you've had a history with, probably already didn't like too much, thought you could beat too.
Mhm.
So yeah,
there's so much that happened in this card. It's really
Right.
unreal. I need to go back and just see if I could rewatch some of the stuff that went down. I'm having a hard time
Unbelievable.
keeping up with Twitter and all the stuff going on with the press conference and tweets, bro. It's a struggle, to be honest.
right. I'm
It's
gonna
hard.
see if the buys are up yet.
Let's take that into consideration. But dude, top to bottom, I could not be more happier with how this card went. And man, time flew by watching this too. You got the number?
Let's see.
Let's see what we got here.
I don't know if the
really
official
curious.
number has been released yet.
The one number I can give you for sure is that the gate for this fight
Zero.
was $0 and $0. That has been confirmed numerous times now, so you could take that to the bank. Except for I saw one guy in the crowd. I have no idea who he was, but there's one guy in the stands. Probably not a fan. Probably had some connection, but he gave some dude a high five. Well, I loved man. Who was it? It was. I'm mad that I can't name which fight it was, but after one of the fights, when they were walking back to the tunnel, this fighter had one of his cornermen get into the stands so he could high five someone in the stands. I thought that was great. The stuff they do to poke fun at the situation going on, I enjoyed every last bit of that.
So the only thing that I have right now in terms of information on the buys
Mhm.
is just the pre-buys. It says as of Thursday of last week, the pre-buys had doubled the buys, like the whole total buys, I believe,
Uh-huh.
of UFC 244, 245, 247, and 248 in overseas locations like Canada and Australia. So nothing really on USA or anything like that yet. So we'll have to wait probably a couple more days, I would assume.
But that points into a lot of directions saying that this card had a lot of buys.
Yeah, I bought it. So
Oh, you actually bought it. Congrats, Blake. Look at you being an upstanding citizen and actually
yeah.
not committing theft.
got it. I support the fighters that I like, and Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje. I support those guys.
I would support them, but I'm broke.
Well, yeah, I was splitting it with some people too.
Exactly.
Though, so it wasn't just me spending $65.
Well, it's up to 65 now.
It's crazy. I thought I would get a $5 discount since I have ESPN Plus subscription, but I guess that's not a thing anymore. I don't know.
Nah, man. There's no way in there. You gotta subscribe and then buy the pay per view. That's a whole different topic. But bro, final thoughts on this card.
Better than expected, if you can believe that.
Right.
And just thankful. Thankful that all the fighters, for the most part, it looks like are going to be all good and should probably continue fighting. I think everyone's going to continue fighting. Even
we're going to get the Wednesday fights, and then we're going to get the Saturday fights.
Wednesday fights are going to be sweet. Can't wait for those. Saturday fights are going to be awesome.
Let's see the return. You got Smith and I can't wait to watch Anthony Smith in his return.
Yeah, I'm
return
really
from the
excited
broken
for Anthony
hand.
Smith.
His last fight was when he retired Gustafsson. So
yep.
He got some momentum behind him, and at least he should be happy that he's going to actually be having a fight with rules this time. So he's
I know
not going to have to worry about some crazy stuff. He can actually, hopefully he's gone that
not have to worry about a crackhead.
Right. Hopefully he's just ready for this fight because, man, I can't wait. Wednesday night fights, Blake. What a time to be alive.
I know. What time does that start at? Do you know?
I'll have to check. Probably like 7 or something like that.
Yeah,
Mountain time. But I was just really happy with it. I'm so thankful, to your point, that this card went well, really went off without a hitch, and just going to disregard Jacare Souza because that ended up not being too much of a problem. Luckily, anyway, the card still went on, and they
handled
proof.
That well.
Exactly, but this UFC is proof that professional sports in America can start to not make their full return, but they can start coming back. We can start getting hockey, some NBA, and MLB starting again, and I really hope so. Thank God that it went off without a hitch, and shout out to Dana White for continually to just keep moving forward with everything. And Dana White getting the country on track.
6 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday. Smith versus Teixeira, the fight night.
Hell yes.
It's going to be a really good, really, really good fight, I believe. Who's even fighting on that? Let me pull that up.
I haven't really seen the undercard to that one.
Oven St. Preux OSP is going to be fighting in heavyweight against Ben Rothwell. That's interesting.
Isn't Ben Rothwell only known for that one amazing post-fight interview?
I think so. I don't really know too much about Ben Rothwell, honestly.
I love him. I love that interview with his little evil laugh and whatever. That was awesome.
Ooh, Marvin Vettori is on this card. What? That's like a random. He's a middleweight. He fought Adesanya in one of his first fights in the UFC.
Okay.
Ricky Simone and Ray Borg are throwing down at bantamweight. That's going to be a good fight. Alexander Hernandez, the guy that Cowboy beat
Hopefully
up,
he gets his ass whooped. That's another guy that everyone loves to hate. And all I know is what a card. What I can't say that enough. What an amazing fight card from early prelims to prelims to the main event. It was awesome. I was so glad just to see fighting again. Also, I was really happy to hear the golden pipes of Bruce Buffer once again in my life. I didn't know how much I missed that until I heard him start to talk again. And he's just the best, isn't he, Blake?
Oh, obviously.
Undeniably.
We already know.
Undeniably.
Everyone's happy when they get to listen to. Dude, I'm gonna have to figure out how to watch these dang fights at work, man. Hope my employers aren't listening right now.
Hey, if they are, appreciate the view. But everyone, that's going to do it for our UFC 249 recap show. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you guys had a lot of fun, not only watching the card, maybe tuning into our live stream, but also listening to this recap show as well. Of course, you can go follow us on the Twitters, the YouTubes, Spotify, Instagram. Go to the website, www.thefourthlong.com. And before I sign off, I just want to congratulate myself for winning the inaugural Suck My Pick title by having the most correct predictions on the card. I went 9-3. I think Jalen went 8-4, and Blake 5-6. Congrats to our UFC correspondent for having the worst picks of the night. Congrats, Blake.
Hey, well, that's just how it goes, man. I don't know everything, and I know you don't because you're a Broncos fan, so you probably don't know very much.
Okay, we don't need that going right now. We could save the football disrespect for our actual weekly podcast, but everyone, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll catch you guys in the next show.